doing well. Today I want to show you one of my daughter's favorite dishes, and it's a Moroccan dish. And I'm going to show you my beautiful tagine, and here it is. My daughter Erica got me this tagine a few years back, and I use it. And let me see if I could get a better shot of this. There we go. There we go. And I use it and we enjoy it, and the flavors are incredible. When you actually work with a tagine, not sure if you've ever seen one, I do soak this before I use it. So if I know I'm going to make a tagine dinner, I do soak my my tagine in water for a couple of hours so that it doesn't crack in the oven. But it goes basically on a lowish heat, so it shouldn't crack on you. But to be safe, I do soak my tagine. And today you could get the modern ones where you don't have to do any soaking. So it's basically like a cast iron tagine. So if you don't like the idea of soaking, you could probably get yourself one of those, but those are very expensive. But this is my beautiful tagine that I use, and it works great, and it does add a different dimension to the flavors of the food because it is an earthenware vessel, and it just cooks different. And if you notice how it's made like a tower, and then it has a little hole on top which releases the steam. But this is great because you put it in the oven, and when you're done, it usually goes in for a couple of hours. And when it's done, you just take it and you put it on the table. When you open this up, the aroma, I can't even start describing how great the aroma is. So I'm just going to show you what I'm using today. And I'm just going to put this lid over to the side. Actually, I'm just going to put it back in the sink in the water. Not that it has to go back in there, but I will put it back in the water. So we're going to start off with some olive oil. And we're going to make a nice little Moroccan dish. And the idea is to put the stuff that needs to cook the longest, which would be, today instead of using sweet potato, I'm using the kabuka squash, and I cut them in rough cubes. It doesn't have to be perfect sizes. So we're going to start with actually putting some tomatoes first, because I want to make some kind of juice at the bottom. So I just lost my tomato. I'm just going to put some tomatoes at the bottom, and that's going to help make some juice, form some juices, and just a couple of onions. And then we start with this, because this is the one that's going to take the longest to cook. So it has to be at the bottom where the heat is concentrated there. And we're going to start putting layers of spices. Now, these are some of the spices that are used in Moroccan dishes, and it's black pepper, there's nutmeg. Today I'm going to use the seeds, which is coriander seeds, rather than the powder, because it's so nice when you get that little seed under your teeth. It just adds that extra little bite and burst of flavor. So I do like using the seeds sometimes, just for that extra dimension when you eat. And also I'm going to use my cumin seeds rather than the powder. But if you don't have the seeds, of course you can use the powders, the ground seeds, and it's going to work just as good. So we're going to start layering these flavors, and of course our cinnamon. Cinnamon is a big part in Moroccan dishes. It has a little bit of sweetness, where we're going to be using some dates, and it has that nice cinnamon taste to it. You don't want to overpower it, but you do want to have some cinnamon in it. So we're going to start layering some of these seasonings, some of the spices. So we're going to start with a little pinch of black pepper. We're going to go to the nutmeg, and we're going to take another little pinch there, and we're just going to sprinkle it lightly. Now, I also do like that hickory smoked flavor. So I will put some of my smoked salt, not too much, just to give it that smoked flavor. And if you don't have the salt, you could just put a couple of drops of liquid smoke. You can buy it at any grocery store, and so if you don't have the salt, you can just drizzle at the end when you made your little pyramid. You can put some liquid smoke if you want to put smoke in it. So here we go, some cinnamon, which I might have to replace. And we're going to put a little bit of my seeds, coriander, and we're going to put a little bit of cumin. There we go. Of course, we're going to need a little bit of salt. So I've got my pink salt here that I'm just going to crack into here. And we're going to start again. We're going to start adding some more of the squash. And you kind of want to build your way up. We've got some carrots. We're going to put some of those. Those are also take a little longer to cook. And some more squash. And it's very simple. And it's basically like a slow cooker. You put this in and you slowly cook your food. Now normally if I have some seitan made, I would put little strips of seitan meat. So you could go ahead and do that if you have any seitan meat. You can either put little chunks of it, or you could cut strips and just layer some of that. Or again, since I don't have any, what I'm going to use is portobello mushrooms. So I'm just going to again start with my my seasoning. I'll be right back. It does add flavor to your dish, so you can add cinnamon sticks if you have. And here we go again. We're going to add a little bit of our coriander and cumin and salt. Now at this point you could also put a little drizzle of maple. Because Moroccan food is a little sweet, you don't want too much, but just a little bit extra sweetness. Now, since I said I wasn't using any meat because I didn't have any on hand, I will add some portobello mushrooms. So we're just going to push this in and work our way up. So we're going to add some tomatoes. And it's just so beautiful, especially when you open it up and everything's cooked. And here's some onions. We're just going to scatter them around. There we go. We're going to cut this mushroom. And I don't remove the stem. Believe it or not, the stem has a nice meaty texture to it. And what I usually do is if I'm making myself a raw burger for myself, I remove all the gills, which I save because I do use it in my sauce, believe it or not. And I remove the stem because when you do cook it in a sauce, in a spaghetti sauce, it's almost like a little bite, it's almost like a meat. So I don't waste it. It adds flavor to your sauces. So, but since I'm making this dish, everything is going in. Now the size depends on you. If you want little bits, if you want bigger bits, that's all up to you on the size of your mushroom. So as you can tell, we're working our way up. So we've got some more tomatoes, some more onions. These I'm just going to scatter them around. And if you could only smell the smoke here, it's so wonderful. Here we go, more tomatoes. And do I have room for more mushroom? So we'll just put some more mushroom. and we need our dates. Now, make sure you remove the pit, and it doesn't matter where you push your date because this is just gonna marry into the flavors of your dish itself. So I use maybe about 9 smallish dates. These are the smaller dates. I think 3 of these make them a jewel. So you could also use raisins. If you don't have any dates on hand and you do have some raisins, you could also use raisins. And it's very simple. You just place them wherever you want. Now you could either make this just a plain veggie dish, or you could also add some chickpeas onto this dish. And you're probably saying, why is it like so stacked up? Well, this will cook down and it's going to be a lot less than what you see in this dish right now. I'm just going to throw some around, and hopefully I should be able to close my lid. Okay, again, we're going to do the last toppings, and that will be my cinnamon, there we go. We're going to put some black pepper. Now if you want to put some heat, you could also do that. We've got the nutmeg, a bit of seeds on top. And like I said, if you don't have seeds, you can use the ground. And we're doing our salt. And let's see if we can manage to get this little bit of mushroom on top. We're just going to put it right on top. And hopefully I'm going to be able to close this. If not, I'm going to have to chop it down a little. And just put some extra dates. And it really is nice when you get a little bit of date in with a nice bite of squash and mushroom. That extra sweetness really does something to your dish. So here we go. Now let's keep our fingers crossed and hope we can get this closed up. Now I'm going to put this in the oven I'm going to start off at 300, and this should take about 2 hours to cook. And here's my lid, and look at that, it fits. There you go. Just want to show you how beautiful that is. Hold on. I do have to find a nicer place to do this, eh? I just want to show you my beautiful cutting board. My husband made me, oh, you can't even see it, it's so big. My husband made me this cutting board. Let me see if I can show it to you. Can you see it? Look how long it is. It's about 2 feet long. My husband made me this cutting board years ago, and I just love it. It's got so many years of flavors built into it. So here we go. Here's the dish, and it's going to go into the oven, and it's going to cook for at least 2 hours at a 300 degree oven, and that's Fahrenheit. And I'm going to check it in 2 hours and show you what it looks like inside. Oh, actually, you know what? I did forget to put a drop of water. You see, sometimes you just forget some stuff. There we go. We're just going to put a little bit of hot water just to help make some of the sauces at the bottom. Not that much, but just enough to add a little bit of juices at the bottom. Because the kabuki is, it's a very, that squash doesn't make a lot of water. It's a nice, believe it or not, I love it because it makes you feel so full when you eat one of those squashes, because it's not a lot of water, so it fills you up really, really nicely. So because it won't make liquids, I did add a little bit of water to this recipe. And if you don't want to add water, you can add maybe some tomato juice. If you open up a can of tomatoes, instead of using the small tomatoes I use, you could actually use the tomatoes from the whole tomatoes in a can, and then you can use the water, the tomato juice that's in that can to add some liquids to your dish. So that's about it. Very easy to make. And I'm going to show you once it's cooked what it looks like. We're going to actually put this on a bed of rice, or you can maybe make some couscous. It also goes great with that. But this is a very fast, easy, you just throw your things together, put it in the oven to cook, forget about it for 2 hours, and then just take the beautiful dish and put it right onto your table, and dinner is served. So it's really pretty easy. It's almost like using a crock pot. It's just wonderful. And just that the idea that it cooks in a nice earthenware, it just adds a nicer taste to your meal. So I'm just going to put this in the oven. And I'll be back in 2 hours to show you. Okay, we're back. I just want to show you I've caramelized my onions, and what I did add to them is just a little touch of maple syrup and cinnamon, and you get these beautiful brown onions. And this, we're going to top our dish with this. So let's put this back on the burner. Not sure if you can see that. Here we go. And here is my dish. I'm just going to show you how beautiful that is. It all cooked down. Just want to show you how beautiful this dish is. Everything is cooked. The aromas is to die for. I can't even tell you the aromas that's just surrounding me in this kitchen at this moment. It is just incredible. So that's how easy it is to make a wonderful Moroccan dish. And I'm just going to taste this. This is so yummy. So I'm just going to cover this again, and I'm going to plate my daughter's dish soon, and I'm going to show you what the final plate is. And it really is that simple. So if you like this recipe, guys, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one.